Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not worry about this darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Back to the Drawing Board. And that is because by Sunday, there will be 5 retrograde planets, and they are all going backward on their orbits and covering ground they've already covered before. And so when there are even 3 or more retrograde planets, it's always a better time to go back and tie up loose ends and to finish projects or plans, and also to double check everything that you have been doing, sort of make sure that you haven't skipped any steps or made any mistakes. And so with 5 retrograde planets by Sunday, we will all have to go back to the drawing board somewhere in our lives. And we really will have to finish up something. Perhaps it's a plan you had from a little while ago that never actually got done. Well, maybe you can go back and try to finish it up now. Or it can be a goal that you've had in mind for a while and you never quite got around to achieving it. Well, maybe now you can plan a way to do that. And so what we have by Sunday is that Uranus, that planet of sudden surprising change, is in Aries, the sign of new beginnings, but it is at the fateful 29th degree and it is retrograde now. And so everyone, in one way or another, is going to have to go back and start something over again. And that is because with 5 retrograde planets, we are going to have to review things, we're going to have to rework things, and we're going to have to make sure that as we redo things, that they are done the right way this time around. And so people will be starting something over, perhaps quite suddenly or somewhat at the last minute, since Uranus is right at the end of the sign. Behind that is Neptune in Pisces, and the moon is in Pisces as well. And so since Neptune is retrograde and going back over its orbit, and Pisces rules hidden enemies and omissions and deceptions, there is the possibility that now, since the moon is also in that sign, that there will be a lot of light on the truth about hidden enemies, or about some sort of activities, or even we'll be able to get to the bottom of some dark pool of lies and covert activities. Maybe, particularly with the moon there, enlightening things, the truth can come out about things that had been going on perhaps for a long time and being done cleverly behind the scenes, but now maybe we'll be able to see all of that, which would be good. And then Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. And with Pluto being retrograde, it simply means there can be transfers of power or changes in management, and there can be changes in policies as well. And that could mean that with these transfers and changes, that a weaker, older group somewhere in our lives recedes now or leaves and makes way for a newer, perhaps younger group that is more energetic and more dynamic. And then Saturn is retrograde in Sagittarius. And because it is retrograde, we may have a chance to make sure that wayward entities, in other words, organizations, even schools, or any kind of agency, these wayward entities perhaps have not been doing their best to serve the common good. And now, according to a well-established precedent in a legal sense, or in a religious sense, or in an educational sense, they can have to sort of roll back and get back to doing things according to well-established norms. And so that can be getting done. And then finally, the last retrograde planet is Mercury, which is retrograde in Virgo. And so that can help us reestablish some practical common sense solution or answers to better efficiency and cost effectiveness in our jobs and concerning our health care. So it really sounds like there's a lot to be done, doesn't it? But actually, I think what the 5 retrograde planets are showing us is that there's really a lot to be undone. In other words, if we could, these 5 planets are indicating that there are going to be some reversals now. And the reason why there can be some reversals that can undo some things is because somewhere in all of our lives, things have just gotten too complicated. And when we make things more complex, fewer and fewer people can succeed at them. So what would the solution be? Well, it would be that if you go back to the drawing board, the idea would be to try and simplify things, because it isn't that there aren't a lot of good ideas around, there are, but there sure aren't a lot of simple ideas around, and that's what we really need. So if your life has gotten rather complicated, maybe it is really a better time for you to go back and sort of rewind your life in one way or another and try to simplify it, because when everybody can do things in a simpler way, I think it leads to greater lasting happiness. And it can mean that if you try to simplify your life, not only you, but a lot of other people can succeed, because it would be easier to do that. So if we have to go back to the drawing board because those planets are all going backwards right now, or at least 5 of them are, then why don't we try to do that? Because it looks to me like if we simplify things, we will gain from that instead, which would be great. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, remember Uranus is at the 29th degree of fate in your sign. It's the last degree in the sign, and it's going retrograde, so it'll come back through your sign a little bit more. But since it is at the 29th degree, I think that you've got sort of a last chance to get something really right, Aries. And that means you might have to start over. And it could be that you want to start over with something that you've always wanted to do and never got around to. Well, maybe now's your chance. Or it can simply be that there can be some pressure on you from other people to get something done quickly, and maybe you haven't been in quite as much a hurry as other people, but you will have to speed up in one way or another now, Aries, and try to sort of do whatever other people are demanding of you, because the Sun and Mars are trining your Sun, and that can represent someone who's making demands upon your time. And also Saturn is trining your Sun. But Uranus and Saturn are both retrograde. You will have to go back to the drawing board and start over with something and try to get it right, or try to finish something up. And you'll have to do it at the coercion of other people. So you'll have to satisfy them. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, for sure you're going to have to go back to the drawing board, but perhaps not the way you think. In other words, right now, the Sun and Mars are still harshly squaring your sun sign. And in fact, they are the only 2 planets in a fixed sign now. There aren't planets in your sign, Scorpio or Aquarius, so there's nothing stopping those planets in Leo, and they can prove to be quite challenging. So you may be facing a lot of competition right now, Taurus, or else you could be having problems with a child, or with a love affair, or something that has to do with sports or entertainment, or even gambling. This is a horrible time for anybody to take a gamble, so don't do that. But luckily for you, Taurus, I think you can go back to the drawing boards, because Mercury in Virgo is trining your Sun, and so is Pluto in Capricorn. And that simply means that if you had at some previous time tried to improve your health, maybe go on a diet or eat a little bit better or exercise more, this is when you could go back to the drawing board and try that again. And that would certainly be a lot of self-improvement that could benefit you for a long time to come, and it could benefit you in your career as well. Or it can be that you want to increase your job skills, or maybe some competitor is forcing you to increase your job skills, but that's just fine, because if you do, that will please management and help your long-term security prospects. So even if somebody is sort of pushing at you right now or putting pressure on you, as long as you concentrate on self-improvement, you're going to do just fine, even if you do have to start over or go back to the drawing board a little bit. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is a time when you can certainly benefit from having the law on your side and helpful partners, because Jupiter in Libra is trining your sun. But there are some pretty insistent planets in immutable signs that are all harshly aspecting your sun, and you have to live with that too, Gemini. And so Mercury is retrograde in Virgo, but squaring your sun. The moon today and Neptune, which is retrograde in Pisces, are also squaring your sun. And then Saturn, which is retrograde in Sagittarius, is opposing your sun. You will definitely have to go back to the drawing board in one way or another, Gemini. And it may be to get a little bit more practical about things. In other words, facing or looking for better solutions to make to increase job efficiency or cost effectiveness or improve your health in some way. Or you may be very interested in what kind of lies are unearthed or what truth comes to the surface about covert activities right now. And also, somebody who has had a grudge against you for a long time can be trying one last time to sort of push against you and put up obstructions in your path. So, okay, that sounds quite challenging. Well, if something hasn't worked already, then why don't you go back to the drawing board, Gemini, and try a different tact? Because the one thing you've really got going for you is your versatility. You are very flexible and adaptable. And while other people are sort of stuck in their rut, you're not. And so this is a wonderful time for you to start over or redo something or try to finish up some things despite the obstacles in your path. And I think you could get a lot of help with that. Also, the Sun and Mars in Leo are sextiling your Sun. You could get some real energetic people to help you out as well, and maybe they can push something through for you. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, today the moon and Neptune in Pisces are trining your sun where you have Venus. And so I'm sure they say home is where the heart is. Well, I'm sure that is where your heart is, Cancer. And so you could want to concentrate on your home, maybe a remodeling project or some sort of redecorating, or you may be thinking about a move. You could be downsizing and wanting to move to a new place, and that could be pretty exciting for you. Or you can be learning a lot about hidden activities or lies and deceptions, and that can change your perspective about somebody, and maybe the real truth will come out now. And maybe if somebody has been victimized in some way, you could begin to understand about that, and you may decide to make a very wise decision about somebody, because now you know the truth, and the truth can sort of support them now, whereas in the past other people may have been deceiving you about them. But once you really do learn the truth, then you will be able to make a wise decision about them that can really help them out and you as well, which is great. So I think that this is a time when you're getting ready to maybe be an angel to somebody, and that's because Venus is in your sign and it is the planet of love. And so I think that you'll do the right thing. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, certainly with the Sun and Mars still conjuncting each other in your sign, you can be a powerhouse of energy right now. And you can really feel as if there's nothing stopping you. And actually there isn't. And that's because there are no planets in any of the other fixed signs, so there's nothing squaring or opposing your sun sign. And yet Uranus is retrograde and it's trining your sun. Saturn is retrograde and trining your sun. And that means that in a funny kind of a way, Leo, there are people that they're supportive of you, but they're not able to keep up with you. And that's because they need to go back to the drawing board, or they need to correct something, or they are perhaps thinking of going in a different direction or making sudden changes. So although they can be supportive of you as a person, They may not be able to do everything that you want them to do right now, and it would be wise of you to be a little bit more patient and understanding, because you could be convinced that you're absolutely right about everything. But, you know, it can be that no matter how right you are, other people want to do things in a simpler way, or other people want to do things at least differently than you. And that is why you might reconsider your approach, Leo. And the reason why is that Mars is not a loving planet. It's an energizing planet. And you know, you could be a little too aggressive or come on a little bit too strongly, and that could further alienate people. So if I were you, Leo, I would turn on the charm offensive right now and use all of your charm to get what you want. Maybe that'll work. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, it certainly is back to the drawing board for you, because Mercury is retrograde in your sign, and it is being squared by Saturn, which is retrograde in Sagittarius, and opposed by the Moon, and Neptune, which is retrograde in Pisces. Okay, so that simply means you've got to work a little harder, Virgo, at going over details and maybe reviewing some of your past plans. Maybe some of the ideas that you've had previously have not worked out. Maybe this is a better time for you just to go back and say, okay, what went wrong? Let's analyze this. Let's get some answers. So this is a really better time for you to come up with really good solutions, so that once you understand why something has not worked out, or what else needs to be done in order to succeed on a plan, then you can go forward. But believe me, if you make something very complex, it won't work right now. There are too many retrograde planets, and so your plans, your intent should be to simplify things, or to shorten your goals, or to go a little easier on what you want, and just take smaller steps so that you can succeed at something and then build on that success and more and more and more. So you really need to come up with answers about why something hasn't worked. You also need to concentrate more on putting together details so that you can understand the hidden deceptions or hidden enemies or lies that have been told. Because not everyone has been telling you the truth for quite a long time. They've only been telling you what you want to hear. And this is a better time for you to go back to the drawing board and try to really figure everything out if you can. It's sort of like taking a pause, but it's a pause to get better answers. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when I think that you are full of anticipation, since Jupiter is in your sign and has been all year, and it is direct now, which is great, so you can feel like going forward. But there are 5 retrograde planets. Jupiter is direct, but there's so many other retrograde planets right now that I really do think that you're going to have to review your plans, Libra. Because remember, a lot of people have to go back and re-examine things and redo things right now and finish things up. And so you may not get all the cooperation that you desire right now. And certainly with Uranus in Aries at the fateful 29th degree opposing your sun sign and being retrograde, it means that somebody is going to get a sort of a final chance to break free and go their own way. And that could be a surprise to you, or that could be a little bit upsetting, but it's also possible they might be back. Remember, that planet is retrograde. So somebody's going to sort of start over in one way or another, and I don't know if that will bring them closer to you or if it will take them further away from you. But that's why you just need to be sort of patient right now, Libra. There are people that are going to have to go back to more well-established norms, that they have been wayward entities doing sort of what they want instead of what the established norm is. So we're all going to have to sort of stabilize ourselves a little bit better and in a simpler way. And I think that you already know that, and you're not having any trouble with that, but others are. So this is a good time for you to be as patient as you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when you absolutely cannot afford to take any kind of a gamble. And don't even buy a lottery ticket, Scorpio. You won't win, so you'd be wasting your money. And the reason why is because Mars and the Sun, which are closely conjuncting each other, are both squaring your sun sign. That can be quite challenging and quite competitive. And also, since Mars is your own sun sign ruler, it simply means that somebody else wants to be the boss right now, or somebody else wants to tightly control things, and they may want to tightly control you, Scorpio, which you would not like at all. And so this is a better time, Scorpio, for you to sort of recede into the background and take this opportunity, along with a lot of other people, to consider reversing a few things and undoing a few things and finishing up a few things. And there can be a legal matter that you have to attend to, or that you've always sort of wanted to make sure was done correctly. Well, now is the time to do that. Venus in Cancer is trining your sun, and the moon today and Neptune in Pisces are also trining your sun. So there can be very nice, some very nice times that you can have behind the scenes with others in a simple way, or you can be very focused on your family and your home. Those things would work out really well. But out in the real world, I wouldn't compete too much right now, Scorpio, because you really couldn't win, and you might be making yourself a target for harm. And this is a better time for you to be discreet and quiet if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, this is simply a time when I think that you're getting ready to proceed with something, and you're not there yet, Sagittarius, and that is because you, just like everybody else, has to go back to the drawing board and revise something or review it or re-examine the facts about something. It could be about your health, since Mercury in Virgo is squaring your sun. It could be about people that have been deceptive, and you need to find out who those people are, because you may not, it might be a good idea not to trust them anymore. And it can be that you have been a little bit stuck and a little bit tired, more tired than usual in the last few years while Saturn has been in your sign. But on August 25th, Saturn will go direct, and it will be heading out of your sign, and it will leave by December 20th. That's what I mean by you're getting ready to achieve something, or you're getting ready to complete something, but you're not quite there yet. So go back to the drawing board and double check everything, Sagittarius, because you might have some rather nice and satisfying victory by Christmas. But you just need to be careful and double check things now. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time with Pluto retrograde in your sign when there can be transfers of power and changes in policies, and an older, weaker group can be receding. Their power can be waning and receding, and a newer, more energetic group can be coming along. And you could be a spectator, in other words, not a participant with that, Capricorn. Instead, you like to sort of continually go forward and persevere with your own plans. This is a good time for you to be doing that, particularly concentrating on your bank book, the health of it, and on your own physical and mental health, meaning your attitude about things. So this is a really good time for you to sort of rejuvenate yourself. That's a way of going back to the drawing board too, because you can sort of perk yourself up or improve yourself in some way. And you can do that, and you may as well, Capricorn, because around you there are a lot of changes. I don't think you're causing them. You may not be too affected by them either, but they are happening. So this is a better time just to sort of upgrade yourself if you want to. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time that could be of great danger for you. You do need to go back to the drawing board, Aquarius, and luckily you'll get help with that because Jupiter in Libra is trining your sun. So the law is on your side, Aquarius, or you can get helpful partners that can bolster you in one way or another and encourage you. But we all have to go back to the drawing board. One area that can be causing you problems right now is that the Sun and Mars, which are tightly conjuncting each other in Leo, are opposing your Sun sign. So that's why you can't afford to take any kind of a gamble at all. But also you can be under pressure from rather aggressive people, or you could be facing a problem with a child, or you could be having relationship problems or lovers' quarrels or something like that. And I don't think you're going to come out the winner, Aquarius, so you do need to make some changes. Look for more peaceful people, or look for nicer friends right now. Or you can go back and review what your plans are for the future, and maybe you'll have to make some adjustments. Well, all of us have to do that right now. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that if you thought you were going to speed ahead on something, I don't think that that's going to happen, because you've got a big roadblock in your path, some type of roadblock, and it's not going to get out of your way. And so my advice to you is go around it and try to change your focus right now, Aquarius, because something you want isn't going to work, but something else could work, particularly with the help of nice people. So you've got to change something in your life. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time with the moon in your sign as well as Neptune. And remember, Neptune is retrograde right now, but they are trining Venus in Cancer. So this is a pretty good time for your home life, Pisces. Or there can be some activity around your home, or even the possibility of a remodel or some sort of a move. And you know, all of that would go rather smoothly right now. As far as the fact that Neptune is retrograde in your sign, it simply means that this is a wonderful time for you to go back to the drawing board and really take an honest look at who your friends are or what activities you're involved with, and really ask yourself, who are the phonies and who's really real? And stick with the people that are really real. And that means you're going to have to do some sorting out in your relationships, Pisces, but you can do that. And then remember, since all of us have parts of our lives that are too complicated right now, try to go back to the drawing board and simplify your life in one way or another, and try to finish something up instead. This is a wonderful time to do that. So good luck. All right, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can see this show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.